People who listen to the show know how much I like this next writer. I like his journalistic credibility. Although I'm going to call him out on one thing here right off the bat. He's Caleb Calhoun, allfortennessee.com. Not only are there few, if any, people better to talk about the offensive coordinator search at Tennessee, the basketball success that the Vols and Lady Vols have had, but also Butch Jones to Maryland to be an assistant coach. That's a controversial move. And I'm not sure it doesn't speak of Maryland being a dumpster fire, not because we hate Butch Jones, but because of the background of both Jones and Maryland football. We'll get to that in a second. But Caleb Calhoun wrote a very interesting point, and a very interesting column in allfortennessee.com, and it was, the Vols are ranked number 3. No, they ought to be ranked number 2 after beating Gonzaga, because Duke is number 2, and they're just getting it off of the reputation of their program. Interesting, but Caleb Calhoun, let's start off with this. Why do you think the Vols, number 3 in the nation, are being slighted?
Well, I was clear that I wouldn't say they were being slighted if they were at number 3 and Virginia was at number 2. And I even said, as crazy as it sounds, they could have Michigan at number 3 and the Vols be at number 4. I wouldn't put Nevada ahead of them yet. I've seen Nevada's strength of schedule. It's not the same as the others, but I was even okay with them being at 4. I was just saying that Duke themselves had no business being ahead of the Vols right now. If you look at schedule strength alone, first of all, the Vols and Duke have the exact same number of losses. Schedule strength, Tennessee has the second highest schedule strength, only to Kansas, who has the highest strength of schedule and number 1 and undefeated. And the Vols' only loss is to that number 1 undefeated team, Kansas, in overtime. And, of course, the major real point is Tennessee beat Gonzaga while Gonzaga did beat Duke. So, there's really no metric to say that Duke should be ranked ahead of Tennessee right now.
Well, wait a minute. You do state in your column that, Duke has one more victory over a top 25 team. And although you kind of poo-poo a victory against Kentucky, look, if Tennessee beats Kentucky, they're going to be promoting that, you know that. And Kentucky is still ranked in the top 20. It's not a poor program by any means. This hasn't fallen to depths or anything like that. So wouldn't you say that, hey, okay, here's the argument. They do have one more glamour victory. And, if Tennessee wanted to be number 2, heck, they'd be number 1 if they took care of business against Kansas. Wouldn't that be the case?
Oh, they'd be undisputed number 1, too. If you arbitrarily look at, Duke had these technically ranked teams that they beat, then yes, that's fair. But again, I'm more of a data guy myself, and, you can make a really strong case, a very strong case, actually, that Tennessee's win over Louisville was more impressive than Duke's win over Kentucky.
And why do you think that is?
Well, Louisville did beat Michigan State, and Louisville does have 3 losses, and Kentucky they've been so up and down. I don't know how they're in the top 25 right now, if I'm being honest with you. I've been on, this looks like one of those Kentucky teams that, John Calipari gets the number 1 recruiting class every year, but, once every 3 or 4 years, he produces nothing but mediocre results with them, and this looks like one of those Kentucky teams he's going to do that with. I've gone the Clay Travis route recently where I say that it's time to start calling John Calipari massively overrated and as a guy who really just can't coach.
Really? I'm not sure I would go there with his national titles and the like, but okay.
He only has 1, though. And I still remember, ask anybody in Memphis about John Calipari and how they feel about how they think that John Calipari single-handedly lost them that game to Kansas in the national title game in 2008. And they kind of have a point. And it wasn't, people forget that his first 4 years at Memphis, he was getting number 1 recruiting classes, and he went to the NIT 3 of those first 4 years. Those first 5 years, excuse me. And this Kentucky team is just not that good. They may end up getting good. We've seen Kentucky kind of develop and get better as the year goes on, but they're struggling right now. I'm not going to consider Duke's win over them that impressive. Maybe how they won is impressive because they blew them out, but that's all I can give them.
The only thing that I'll just add to the argument, the only thing I can possibly do is that I can remember back in 1991, going to a Duquesne UMass game. Yeah, Calipari, young coach at UMass. And the Dukes went on a 10-0 run in the final 4:30 that had them win by a point, 68-67. It was one of the more memorable games I've ever attended under the circumstances, because you knew that UMass was going places and that, that sort of thing. And John Carroll was the coach at Duquesne at the time. He would later coach the Boston Celtics. But that is, I mean, I want to say, is that bad coaching that you would withstand such a run at the end of a game years and years ago? I don't know. That's my John Calipari lost a lead or should have done more story. The thing I took from that game also is that I remember after the game, was a student reporter going down to the press, and the reporter for the Pittsburgh Press did not want to talk about the run that won the game, wanted to talk about the run that allowed UMass to take the lead early in the second half. And John Carroll looked at that reporter and said, how can that be your opening question? You want to talk about negative reporting or always looking for, that? Yeah, you win a game with a 10-0 run at the end, and instead of talking about that, you want to, hey, forget about that 8-0 thing that you did with 12 minutes in the second half and all that. I mean, anyway. So that's my Calipari can't coach story. If you want that, I'm not sure I'm willing to go down that line, but there you go. Okay, that's my story that I'll back you up with here. However, you're also impressed. I can't imagine that one could not rank the Vols as a Final Four contender, but you also were very impressed, I guess, with comeback victories for the Lady Vols, wins over ranked teams. Tell us what you think right now about the Tennessee women's basketball team. Been criticized a lot in recent years, but could this be a special season?
Well, they're a team that makes runs still. I mean, that's kind of been the mark of Holly Warlick's last couple of years, where she's gotten more freshman talent. I don't know if this team will, but I think the good news for the Lady Vols is pretty much everybody that's crucial is going to be back again next year. And she's got another elite recruit. To her credit, I got to give her credit on this, because I was skeptical of her at the end of last year, but she's got another elite recruiting class coming in. So I think that next year, I think this year the Lady Vols could at least make another run and be a threat, but I think you could finally see the Lady Vols be restored to what they once were next year. I think you might be seeing a few cracks in UConn. I mean, I know not just that they've lost the last two national titles, but they don't have the monopoly on recruiting that they had about 4 years ago under Gina Auriemma. And you're seeing other teams kind of creep in there. I think after next year's class, Tennessee will have a higher class than UConn recruiting-wise 3 out of 4 years. And so you could really see something special happen next year. I think this year they're starting off sophomores, and then they have a crop of freshmen who are still pretty good. They got a couple of veterans in there, but mostly veteran role players. So I'm thinking next year is when you could really see the Lady Vols make a strong run.
That recruiting class that you make, I am most impressed with, because Phil Fulmer only gave her a 3-year contract extension and not a 4-year. And I talk a lot about this, Caleb Calhoun of allfortennessee.com. Generally speaking, a football coach, or really just about any coach, needs 4 years ahead of him on the contract to have full impact in recruiting, that he can promise a recruit, yes, I will be there for your entire career, for the 4 years. That's the substance. Don Staley's contract at South Carolina goes to 2025. So for Warlick to be able to succeed with that, and for that matter, making about a third of the money that Gino Auriemma does, I'm impressed by it. I think that there isn't enough attention given to that with Holly Warlick. And so there you go. I mean, you could not find somebody more loyal. Anyway, so I'm excited for what you're saying. If the Lady Vols could return to the past national championship glories in the future. But if they don't, also remember, I think that she is being dealt an 0-2 pitch that Pat Summitt never had to work with. I think it needs to be said, too. Anyway, lead with the positive and then get to the negative. Why can't the Vols find an offensive coordinator?
I don't know what's going on with this now. I mean, I'm starting to think, like, I'm wondering, have they found one, or are they playing a game of chicken with Florida State with Kendall Briles? than you can go through Tennessee or Florida State right now. I mean, you like to run a little more of the spread. Willie Taggart likes that. I mean, I think Florida State's a better situation for him.
Well, you look at this. I mean, why is this the case? Are people just Jared Guarantano for 2 years? I don't know. Is it a fact that Jeremy Pruitt doesn't like his assistants to talk to the media? And for someone like Neil Brown, who's a head coach, or for that matter, Hugh Freeze, I can't imagine that they would improve their stock just by allowing Pruitt to be the one voice and not saying much. I mean, media relations skills will definitely help you make the jump to, say, a Power 5 head coaching position. I'm looking at, I don't know, Ole Miss hiring Mike McIntyre as defensive coordinator. So they're getting that in a high-profile coach. And, here's Tennessee, just, okay, are they waiting on Dan Enos? Is there some way that he wouldn't be promoted to the offensive coordinator at Alabama? I mean...
Actually, right before we came on, I think news broke that according to sources now, it looks like he is going to be promoted to offensive coordinator at Alabama.
It seems to me, and for that matter, Brandon Streeter, who, and I know Tony Elliott, to my knowledge, unless I missed something, doesn't have a head coaching job, but the idea with Streeter at Clemson was that, okay, here's a Mr. Clemson. I mean, he played quarterback for him. That's all he's known. And if Elliott were to go elsewhere as a head coach, yeah, you promote the quarterback coach to be that co-offensive coordinator. Of course he'll take that instead of going somewhere else, especially to a program that's won 9 games in 2 years. I mean, are they even targeting the right people that they should? That's the question that I'm asking you, Caleb Calhoun.
Yeah, and I wish I had more answers for you on this, honestly, but it's just it went from rumor after rumor after rumor to just dead silence on the search. And I don't know. I mean, again, my only guess is that they're in negotiations they have a guy in mind and they're in deep negotiations and talks, which is why I made a leap to the idea that they're in a bidding war for Kendall Brown, because that's the only name. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think Neil Brown would leave Troy for Tennessee. I really don't, to be an offensive coordinator. And,
I don't think that's a step up.
Sorry?
I don't think that's a step up. He might be able to make more coin, and that's always important. But I don't know if he would ever become... I mean, if you're the coach at Troy, I would think that your path is, I want the Power 5 job, possibly the NFL. I mean, that's a long, long way. But where can I move, advance, and up to? And... I think that you've got a better path by being a successful coach at Troy, just like Scott Satterfield made the move to the Power 5 in Louisville from Appalachian State, than you do by taking, I'll be a Power 5 OC, and then hope things work out that way. And, he's got I think it's 16 starters coming back, somewhere in that neighborhood coming back to Troy. So he should have a good team in the future and such. I'm not sure, unless he really needs the, bigger paycheck of a few $100,000 that the Tennessee Volunteers would likely be able to pay him. I'm just not sure that that's a move up. I mean, to go to a Power 5 head coaching position, to be the OC.
Exactly,
yeah.
Particularly a Power 5 head coaching position with a coach who's still unproven, and say hypothetically Jerry Pruitt doesn't work out and just things don't turn around in the next 2 years, and Neil Brown has latched himself onto a coaching staff that, maybe the head coach got fired, and then that just sets him back even further. So I'm with you. I can't imagine him leaving Troy. I think he's in such a good situation, and we talked about this last week, those southern, small, Sun Belt type schools, they are very good schools to win at if you know how to evaluate talent, because there's so much undervalued talent you can get in those states and win with. And so, and I think Troy knows, and I think Neil Brown knows that at Troy. And I mean, you're in Alabama. Just give him some gas money, and he can go find some guys that can play. You're right, he's got a lot of talent returning.
You want to know what I think is going to be the program of the future, and I mean, sort of possibly the next UCF, something like that, is Georgia State. They've got all these new facilities. They're going to have, Atlanta, this inherent fan base, big city. I mean, people are going to go to, maybe not in the numbers that they go to the Vols games, but I mean, there'll be interest and media attention there just by who they are. And it's going to be the largest school in Georgia, surpassing the University of Georgia. If not now, it will be in the very short future. And I just can't see Georgia State, with all the talent in Georgia, that they put up with 2-10 from Sean Elliott or whatever. I would suggest to you that is a program I could see winning not only in the Sun Belt, but possibly because of their media size, their media market, going to, say, an American, if, say, UCF ever were to join the Big 12 or something. That's a program I really think is on the rise. And in fact, I might take it if I'm at a conference like the American or Conference USA ahead of Appalachian State, just because of media market, just because right now. I mean, Atlanta versus, well, you say you're in Charlotte, but you're really in Boone, that sort of thing. Anyway, just something to discuss, to consider in the future. Okay, so I know I'm getting off a tangent with you here, Caleb Calhoun, all for Tennessee. What do you think of my theory, though, that maybe that one voice that I don't want my coordinators to talk to the media, that could prohibit someone from wanting to be the offensive coordinator at Tennessee? Because like I said, I mean, working with the media, that's going to improve your stock. That's going to show that you are a personality to some program and all this. Just letting Jeremy Pruitt speak for you, I can't see that being a path for an advancement. Do you agree with me, or do you think that I'm overrating that?
I'm not sure. Again, I could agree with you if I knew everybody they were looking at, but the only person we know they truly looked at is